Have you ever found yourself kind of caught up in a seemingly minor issue?
Yeah, like something small that just grows.
Exactly.
Mm.
And you realize the more attention you give it, the bigger and honestly more draining it becomes.
hmm
So what if the most effective way to deal with certain problems, maybe even certain people, was to simply, well, ignore them?
It's a really compelling idea, isn't it? Because our first instinct is almost always to react, to push back.
Right. So today we're doing a deep dive into exactly that idea, the strategic power of disdain and selective attention.
We're looking at Law 36 from Robert Greene's seminal work, The 48 Laws of Power.
And the law states it pretty bluntly. Ignoring them is the best revenge. So our mission today is to unpack why this isn't just being passive.
No, not at all. It's framed as a potent power move.
Yeah. And we want to explore when to use it, and importantly, when you really need to be careful with it.
And all our insights, they're coming from this one really rich source, Chapter 36, which is just packed with history, fables, deep insights.
It really is a treasure trove on, human interaction and strategy, almost like a masterclass in psychological warfare in a way.
You could say that.
Okay, so let's get into the core principle. The basic idea is that by even acknowledging a petty problem, you actually give it existence and credibility. That's the quote.
Right. So paying attention to an enemy or even just an annoyance actually makes them stronger in your world.
It feels counterintuitive,
Yeah.
suggesting that often the best thing to do is just leave it alone.
And what's fascinating is the psychological twist. If there's something you want but can't have, showing contempt for it or just seeming less interested,
Uh-huh.
it can paradoxically make you seem more superior. It elevates your status.
Okay, but that sounds good in theory. How does that actually play out? What's the common mistake people make here?
Well, the big pitfall is that immediate impulse to react, to engage.
Right.
And history is just full of examples where that backfires, like
Oh.
spectacularly.
Okay, let's take one. The source talks about Pancho Villa, right? And the American punitive expedition.
Oh, yeah, that's a classic. Villa, the Mexican rebel leader, started as a bandit, then became this sort of folk hero after the 1910 revolution.
Robbing trains, giving to the poor, these daring raids. He really fascinated Americans at the time.
He did, but then, his influence started to wane after General Carranza won the revolution.
Right, his army shrank, he went back to banditry, lost some popularity.
And it seems like out of that desperation, that loss of standing, he started railing against the United States, blaming the gringos, as he called them.
And then came the spark. March 1916, Villa raids Columbus, New Mexico, kills 17 American soldiers and civilians.
That really forced President Wilson's hand. Wilson had actually admired Villa before that.
But now he felt the bandit had to be punished.
And his advisors were pushing hard for action, arguing a big power like the U.S. had to strike back.
Couldn't look weak, right? Especially with Wilson seen by some as a pacifist.
Exactly. So Wilson sends General Pershing, 10,000 soldiers, the punitive expedition.
And it becomes this huge media event back in the States. Reporters following them. It's framed as this big test of American power.
They had advanced gear for the time, too. Modern weapons, radio, even airplanes for reconnaissance.
Looked impressive on paper, but the reality.
Oh, the reality was a mess. Troops splitting up, combing this huge, rough terrain. They offered a massive $50,000 reward for Villa.
But it didn't work.
Not at all. The Mexican people, who had actually been getting tired of Villa, suddenly saw him as a hero standing up to the Americans.
So they helped him.
They fed Pershing false leads, sent the troops on these wild goose chases. Villa, even though he was wounded, always seemed to be one step ahead.
And the expedition just kept growing, didn't it? It ballooned to, 123,000 men?
Yeah, an enormous commitment. And they were suffering. The heat, the mosquitoes, the terrain. It was brutal.
Plus they're angering the locals, the Mexican government.
And get this. Villa, apparently recovering in a cave at one point, literally watched Pershing's exhausted troops marching back and forth below him, completely clueless.
Oh, wow.
And by winter, the American press started calling it a slapstick farce. The public, seeing the failure, actually started to admire Villa's cleverness again.
That's ironic.
Totally. And then Mexican forces actually started pursuing the U.S. Army, Pershing had to use his planes just to cover their retreat.
So a retreat of the most humiliating sort, as the source puts it.
Precisely. The whole thing was meant to be this show of force, teach Villa a lesson, show the world you don't mess with the U.S.
And it did the exact opposite.
Completely. The longer it went on, the more it just highlighted American, incompetence and amplified Villa's myth.
People forgot the original raid.
Yeah, the raid became secondary. The failure to catch him became the story. A minor annoyance turned into this huge international embarrassment.
It really shows that engaging can just magnify the problem.
That's the core lesson. You risk making the irritant seem far more significant than it is.
Pancho Villa himself apparently said, "Just think, it cost your government $130 million to try to get me, and nothing was gained."
He really had the last laugh there.
So what should Wilson have done? What were the alternatives?
Well, the source suggests a few things. He could have put quiet pressure on the Mexican government to deal with Villa themselves.
Many Mexicans were already tired of him.
Exactly. Or worked with them for a smaller raid, maybe set a trap on the U.S. side.
Oh.
Or, and this is the key point for our discussion, he could have ignored the matter altogether for the time being. Just waited for the Mexicans to handle Villa eventually.
His reaction gave Villa a whole new lease on life.
It absolutely did. It poured fuel on a dying fire.
So the source really emphasizes this. You choose to let things bother you. You can just as easily choose not to notice the irritating offender.
To consider the matter trivial and unworthy of your interest, that is the powerful move.
It's about conserving your own energy and status.
And if you think bigger picture, engaging an irritant can make you look small, especially if it takes a long time.
Like Athens trying to conquer tiny Sicily. Made Syracuse famous instead.
Exactly. Or JFK in the Bay of Pigs meant to take down Castro, but the failure just made Castro look like a hero resisting a superpower.
There's another danger mentioned too, right? Even if you do crush the irritant.
Ah, yes, the sympathy factor. You can accidentally make the weaker side look sympathetic.
Like FDR and his dog, Fala.
Perfect example. Critics attacked him, saying he wasted taxpayer money flying his dog around during the Depression.
Which sounds petty now, but
Roosevelt's response was genius. He gave this speech defending his defenseless little dog.
people loved it.
Totally. It made his critics look mean and petty and boosted his own popularity, just like the public ended up siding with the underdog Villa against the mighty U.S. Army. You create martyrs sometimes.
Okay, and maybe the scariest warning. Trying to fix a small problem can unleash something much worse.
The Kissinger example, the Pentagon Papers.
Right, the leak happened, and Kissinger apparently just lost it. Absolute rage.
And that rage, that overreaction, led directly to forming the plumbers unit to stop leaks.
The same unit that later broke into the Watergate Hotel.
Bingo! Leading straight to Nixon's downfall. But the thing is, the Pentagon Papers themselves weren't that big a threat initially.
Kissinger's reaction made it a big deal, as the source says.
Exactly. If he just ignored it, let it blow over, the whole Watergate catastrophe might never have happened.
It's chilling. So it all comes down to controlling that urge to react, doesn't it? How do you not react?
Well, that's the art, isn't it? And it leads us to cases where disdain was used, masterfully.
Okay, so let's shift gears. Instead of reacting, powerful figures sometimes play the contemptuous aristocrat, as the source puts it.
Right, a conscious, strategic withdrawal of attention and validation.
Let's look at Henry VIII. This is a wild story. 1527, he wants rid of his wife, Catherine of Aragon.
Main reason being no male heir. And he cooked up this justification about the marriage being incestuous because she'd been briefly married to his dead brother Arthur.
Even though Catherine insisted she was a virgin in that first marriage, and the Pope had actually approved her marriage to Henry.
Right. But years pass, no son. Catherine's past childbearing age. Henry decides it must be divine punishment for incest. Convenient.
And let's be honest, he was also completely infatuated with Anne Boleyn.
Oh, absolutely. But the Pope, Clement VII, wouldn't grant the annulment. He was under pressure himself from Catherine's nephew, the Holy Roman Emperor.
So Henry's stuck, but he comes up with this audacious plan.
Audacious is right. He basically just starts ignoring Catherine, stops sleeping with her, starts calling her Princess Dowager of Wales, not Queen.
Ouch.
Then, by 1531, he literally banishes her from court, sends her off to some remote castle.
And the Pope.
The Pope is furious. Orders Henry to take Catherine back, threatens him with excommunication, the ultimate spiritual weapon back then.
And Henry's response.
This is the key part. He just ignored it, completely ignored the Pope's threat, declared his own marriage dissolved.
And married Anne Boleyn anyway in 1533.
Yep. The Pope refused to recognize it, but Henry essentially said, so what?
He just decided the Pope's authority didn't apply anymore.
Pretty much. He broke England away from the Roman Catholic Church, established the Church of England, and declared himself the supreme head.
Wow. Talk about taking your ball and going home.
It was more than that. The source says Clement fumed. No one had ever treated him so contemptuously. Henry utterly humiliated the papacy.
And the Pope had no real comeback.
What could he do? Henry had simply removed himself and his kingdom from the Pope's sphere of influence. Excommunication was meaningless now.
And Catherine?
She felt that devastating sting of Henry's disdain, as the source puts it, isolated, ignored by the king. She just faded away.
So Henry played this game of total disdain. By ignoring them, he essentially canceled them out.
Exactly. It's infuriating for the target. It unsettles them, but because you've cut off dealings, there's nothing they can do. You're not playing their game anymore.
This is the ultimate power pose. You are the king, and you ignore what offends you.
You dictate reality by deciding what gets your attention. It's an active nullification.
So how do we apply this? What are the specific tactics? One mentioned is the sour grapes approach.
Ah, yes. If there's something you want but can't get, don't whine about it.
Act like you never wanted it anyway.
Precisely. Like the writer George Sand, nominated for the prestigious Académie Française in 1861.
But she realized pretty quickly they weren't going to elect a woman.
Right. So instead of complaining or showing disappointment, she publicly claimed she had no interest in belonging to this group of worn-out, overrated, out-of-touch windbags.
Ah, that's brilliant.
It was perfect disdain. Saved face, yes, but also subtly branded the Academy as irrelevant. As the source says, crying sour grapes isn't always weak. Sometimes it is actually the tactic of the powerful.
It's about controlling the narrative, controlling your own reaction.
Exactly. Another tactic is about handling attacks from, say, inferiors or even your own mistakes, lightly, with a kind of aristocratic indifference.
Refusing to give it weight. Like the story of Dainagon Tsunehiro, the emperor's priceless tea bowl.
Oh, that's a great one. So Dainagon, a high official, accidentally drops and smashes this incredibly valuable antique tea bowl belonging to the emperor.
The emperor must have been furious.
And absolutely livid. But Dainagon doesn't grovel. He doesn't make a huge fuss.
What does he do?
He just bows calmly and says something like, "Most clumsy of me," but then adds, "There is not much harm done."
To a priceless antique.
Yeah. He explains, well, it was old, not really used. Maybe it's rather fortunate that it has broken thus.
That tastes guts.
Incredible guts. But the effect. It completely wrong-fitted the emperor. By treating his own major blunder with such disdain, Dainagon signaled his own high status and unflappability.
So the emperor couldn't really rage without looking petty.
Exactly. He was sort of forced to match Dainagon's cool indifference. Amazing psychological move.
There's a similar one with Pietro Aretino, the Renaissance writer. Son of a shoemaker, but he claimed noble birth.
Right, he built this whole persona. Then an enemy digs up the truth and exposes him.
Potentially devastating.
Yeah.
But Aretino's response?
Masterful. He didn't deny it. He didn't defend himself. He just basically announced, "Yes, I am the son of a shoemaker," and then sort of trumpeted this new truth as if it were even more impressive.
Owned it with contemptuous pride.
Completely deflated the attack. Turned potential shame into a source of power.
So these examples point to a deeper psychological dynamic, right? About desire.
Yes. The source notes that desire often has these paradoxical effects. The more you want something, the more you chase after it, the more it eludes you.
Like neediness is unattractive.
Pretty much. Showing too much interest, having this uncontrollable desire, makes you seem weak. It repels.
So the counter move is to turn your back, show contempt, show indifference.
And this can drive the other person crazy because suddenly they want to have an effect on you to get your attention back.
Contempt is the prerogative of the king. Like Louis XIV, what he ignored was as good as dead at court.
He maintained his absolute power by deciding who and what was worthy of his royal attention. What he disregarded ceased to matter.
There's that Italian proverb, too, chi non stima vien stimato.
To disregard is to win regard. It's about earning respect through your own self-possession, your indifference to lesser things.
And G.K. Chesterton and George Bernard Shaw. Silence is the one unbearable repartee.
Sometimes the most powerful response is no response at all. It leaves the attacker flailing.
But then there's that other quote from Idries Shah, ignore him and he'll hate you.
Right, which suggests the problem, the irritation, maybe isn't totally gone.
It's just being managed by you, on your terms.
Exactly. You're controlling the dynamic by withholding engagement. And remember Balthazar Pearshon's point. Many things which seemed important turn out to be of no account when they are ignored.
Like that image of the tiny wound.
Yeah, keep picking at it, scratching it, focusing on it, and it gets worse, maybe infected.
But leave it alone.
Give it time, ignore it, and it usually just heals on its own. You save yourself a lot of grief.
Okay, so this all sounds incredibly powerful. Disdain as the ultimate move.
Yeah.
But there has to be a catch, right? A time when this is the wrong approach.
Absolutely. And the source is very clear on this. It's a powerful tool, but you have to use it with care and delicacy. It's definitely not a one-size-fits-all solution.
Because while most small things might vanish if ignored,
some things will grow and fester unless you attend to them. They don't go away. They get worse under the surface.
so the crucial question is, how do you tell the difference? How do you know what's just an annoyance versus what's a growing threat?
That's the million-dollar question, and the warning is stark. Ignore a person of inferior stature, and the next time you look, he has become a serious rival.
And your contempt has made him vengeful as well.
Mm.
So ignoring them actually fueled their rise.
Exactly. You gave them motivation, like Caesar Borgia.
The Renaissance prince. Machiavelli's inspiration, partly.
Right. Early in his career, as a young general for his father, Pope Alexander VI, the established Italian princes kind of looked down on him, ignored him.
Saw him as just the Pope's son, maybe not a serious player in his own right.
Pretty much. Big mistake. Because, as the source says, by the time they paid attention, it was too late. The cub was now a lion, gobbling up chunks of Italy.
They underestimated him because they disdained him.
And that disdain blinded them until he was too powerful to stop easily. Shows the danger of ignoring a problem that has a real potential to grow.
So you might need to project indifference publicly.
Maintain that cool, aristocratic facade.
But privately, you need to keep an eye on the problem. Monitor it, make sure it actually is fading away, or deal with it quietly if it's not.
That's the real mastery, isn't it? Developing the skill of sensing problems when they are still small.
And taking care of them before they become intractable.
It's about accurately distinguishing between the truly potentially disastrous and the fairly mildly irritating. That takes judgment, intelligence, not just emotional control.
Okay. So wrapping this up, we've taken a really deep dive today into this whole idea of strategic disdain.
Yeah, how ignoring something, withdrawing your attention, can be, paradoxically, a very potent form of revenge or control.
It conserves your energy, flips the script on people trying to drag you into pointless fights.
We saw how reacting impulsively, like with the punitive expedition against Villa, can backfire horribly.
And how masterful disdain, like Henry VIII's approach to the Pope and Catherine, can just dismantle opposition.
But crucially, we also hit that nuance. You have to know when to ignore.
Right. And when a seemingly small problem, like Caesar Borgia initially, needs swift, maybe private attention before it becomes that raging lion.
So it's not about just being aloof or cold. It's a conscious, strategic choice.
Directing your energy where it counts. Instead of letting trivial stuff drain you or ignoring real threats until it's too late, it's about cultivating that inner calm, that almost regal indifference.
A powerful stance.
So maybe a final thought for everyone listening. Consider this. What tiny wound are you currently picking at?
What petty annoyance? Or maybe what unachievable desire?
That might just heal faster or lose its grip on you if you simply chose, strategically, consciously, to turn your back on it, to just disregard it.